What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to have a little chat about what's going on with Nintendo and how they are in a very good spot right now at this point with the Switch going to the Switch 2, but there is a number of concerns that they need to make sure that they address in order to have the best possible outcome coming up here with the next system. We're going to talk about the Switch itself. We're going to talk about the games coming out. We're going to talk about the Nintendo Direct upcoming. We're going to talk about the lineup. There's so many different things to get into, but before we do, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. And let's go ahead and first jump into the Switch to the Switch 2, the transition. I get this so many times on my live streams, and I wanted to make another video directly addressing what's happening here. So many of you guys already know at this point, Nintendo is gearing up. They have officially confirmed that Nintendo Switch 2, or whatever their next system is going to be, the successor to the Nintendo Switch, will be revealed sometime in the fiscal year. So from this point all the way to March of next year, Nintendo is getting ready. They are prepping software. They've talked about in their investor meetings that they do have to be cognizant of what's going on when it comes to resources with the Nintendo Switch 2 games, which is pretty much the reason why you've seen a lot of remasters, remakes, and ports for this year. You're not going to see a lot of major brand new titles on the Nintendo Switch as they're getting ready for the next system. But I do feel, as someone who's been with every single Nintendo system for every generation, I've seen how they've kind of fumbled the transitions from one system to another and kind of been a wasteland when it comes to content for the current system that's out before the next system that comes. And even worse, sometimes their current system has been dead or lacking games or software, momentum, or anything, and it's like a year or so before the next system comes out. So they're in a really bad spot overall. We've seen that with the Wii to the Wii U, where sales tailed off in 2009, but they kind of lumbered around with the Wii all the way until 2012 with the Wii U, and by then things were just already in a drastic situation with the marketing and the name and a variety of different problems that the Wii U did have. The games lineup, what they decided to do, there was just so many different issues. So I feel that with this transition, Nintendo is in a pretty good spot right now from the Switch to Switch 2. They've got games coming out. Software sales are pretty good. Nintendo has been making a ton of money off of that. They've been profiting quite a bit. Nintendo actually revealed that they've made more profit in the Switch era than all of the previous Nintendo systems combined. That just goes to show you how successful things have been. So they're going to continue to supply software for this year. And we have an upcoming Nintendo Direct where they're going to talk about more software coming out for the end of 2024. But I do like the fact that Nintendo still has games coming out. People are still buying the Nintendo Switch despite the sales, yes, being lower. People are still buying it, and it's going to be a better transition for fans and Nintendo as well. I think that it's a win-win in the situation that we still get some games. I'm really enjoying Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Not the major, oh my gosh, system selling type of games, but stuff to actually support people that have been supporting the Nintendo Switch until they're ready to show off and launch the next system. So that's been really good and probably the best that Nintendo's done for any mainline home console or anything that they considered a home console. So I am happy with that. Now let's talk about the games lineup for 2024. This is something that I also get quite a bit on my channel and in my live streams, so I wanted to make a dedicated video talking about it as well. So 2024, we still have this second half. Nintendo has an upcoming Nintendo Direct that they are going to reveal a bunch of different games. Now, if you want to know my direct predictions for that, I have a video that you can check out right here and in the description below. Make sure you watch it. I go over all the different things that we could see at it, but I do feel that Nintendo does probably have a better second half lineup than a first half lineup because they still are counting on the Nintendo Switch to sell 13 million units in the next fiscal year. So they're going to have a few heavy hitters, a few bigger games. Now, Paper Mario has been really good for them overall with the sales so far from what I've gauged. I made a video talking about it recently as well. So I do feel with the second half of 2024, we're going to see a few more bigger games. We could get a Fire Emblem 4 remake, that has been rumored now for quite some time. Nate the Hate and various other sources have stated that there is a remake of Fire Emblem 4 or Genealogy of the Holy War. That's Sigurd's game. So I'm looking forward to them announcing that because it seems like it's been done for a while. We did know that Fire Emblem Engage was more of an anniversary title, and that was done for a while. So Nintendo has sat on Fire Emblem games before on the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo could also reveal more Metroid that's going down. We have Metroid Prime 2, Metroid Prime 3 that has been rumored for forever now at this point, and Metroid Prime 4 that is confirmed to be a real thing, but Nintendo's shown nothing after the reboot of the game. Heck, they showed nothing before the reboot of the game with Retro Studios back in 2018/2019. So I do think that Metroid could be a big focus at this next Nintendo Direct, and that would help push things along if you had Metroid Prime 2, Metroid Prime 3, and Metroid Prime 4. Now, another popular thing that people are talking about, especially with what Midori had to say recently with The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and she doesn't know why Nintendo is not releasing that game or has not released that game, is that we could see Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. These are two games that people have been asking about for years now. Pretty much the whole life cycle of the Nintendo Switch is when are we going to be able to play these two legendary Zelda games on the most current Nintendo system. So I think that is a possibility as well. And I think it's probably likely that we'll get at least one of those games in 2024. Maybe they kind of spread things out a little bit. Maybe it's a double pack. We just don't know at this point. But I do feel pretty confident in saying that Nintendo will reveal a big Zelda game for the second half of this year, either Twilight Princess or Wind Waker HD, or both of them. So we could see that. Now, some other wild card things that Nintendo could have when it comes to just random stuff, there's been talk about an F-Zero GX ports or F-Zero GX remaster from the GameCube days. That's something that absolutely would be pretty cool if Nintendo was able to do. They had an F-Zero 99 and people are still playing that, but that's just kind of more of a weird mashup type of F-Zero game. It is a new F-Zero game, but it's using the type of Super Nintendo graphics. I think people would love to see the best F-Zero game played on a modern system, but it have to be done right when it comes to F-Zero. So there's that. There's been talk about a Star Fox game as well, whether it's going to be a Star Fox Assault game. Some people have even wanted, hey, if you port over Star Fox Zero from the Wii U with standard controls, that could be a very interesting thing, and kind of put in motion controls with HD haptics and HD rumble. That could be really fun to play as well. Or maybe they even go the Star Fox Adventures route, which I'm not sure if they'd go that route, but people want to see Star Fox, people want to see F-Zero. Yes, these aren't the most popular Nintendo franchises, but I think that these are actually perfect to release at the end of a life with a large install base. I think it'd be very good because you don't have to rely on them on actually moving any type of hardware, since it's the end and Nintendo's getting ready for the next thing. So those are all possibilities. When it comes to the Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo has a lot of work cut out for them because there are a lot of games that are dead on the 3DS at this point, and it would be great if Nintendo brought them over. There's been talks about Samus Returns potentially returning some type of way, or maybe even Kid Icarus Uprising, getting an HD port with that, because the only issue that I have with that game is the controls. Everything else is really good. Heck, the game shipped with a stand because it was not necessarily comfortable to play it normally in your hands. So I do feel that Nintendo is looking at that, and maybe we get a Kid Icarus Uprising HD port. There's been rumors from PH Brazil, who accurately got the internal delay of the Nintendo Switch to 2025, and many other credible sources actually backed him up, like Eurogamer and VGC. He's talking about how there is a GameCube and a 3DS remaster or re-release coming out in March 2025 or later, so Nintendo could first talk about that. Who knows at this point? So there's a lot of stuff to get excited about for the long-time Nintendo fans, and everyone else can get ready and get hyped and anticipate what Nintendo's doing next for the next system. And I do want to get into one final point here when it comes to Nintendo and how I like what position they're in at this point, and that is the sales position of it. The Nintendo Switch still kind of sells a bit steady, like I mentioned, but overall, you look at the talk when it comes to if the Nintendo Switch can become the best-selling system of all time, and I do think that it's very possible that it does become the best-selling system of all time, because if you look at it, if they sell their 13 million units that they want to sell for the fiscal year, that would put them at right around Nintendo DS territory. So then you're right around 2 to 6 million away away from where Sony has logged their sales at, anywhere between 155 million to 160 million. And that's before any type of price drop. That's before any type of, okay, the next system is out or anything like that, right? You're already really close. The PlayStation 2 sold a lot after the PS3 was released, and it had a lot of discounts and bundles and all sorts of fire sales. I remember at one point you can get a PS2 for like $99 and sometimes even cheaper than that on special. So I do feel that once Nintendo activates that, maybe right at the Switch 2 launch or shortly after the Switch 2 launch, or whenever they decide to do that, I think that they do have a number of stock built up with the Switch Lite, with the Switch version 1, with the Switch version 2, with the Switch OLED. All of those systems can go on sales and discounts, and that could push it above the 155 to 160 million mark to become the best-selling system of all time within the next couple of years or so here. I do think that the Switch is also popular enough to where you are going to have people who are playing the Nintendo Switch even multiple years after the Switch 2 comes out. So that's going to help the profile of it. That happened with the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 2. There were still tons of people playing PlayStation 2 after PlayStation 3 came out because it had such a historic and massive library, and the Nintendo Switch definitely has a massive library of a ton of first-party games in addition to a bunch of random indie games and just random titles and random AAA ports here and there. I mean, we did find out the other day that Resident Evil 6, of all games, has sold over 1 million units on the Nintendo Switch. But even with that, an old port doing some pretty good numbers. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other titles that are like that, and people are going to go back to the well with their Nintendo Switch in the future, because it is a pretty fascinating system if you look at it overall with what it does, the hybrid nature of it, or even if you're talking about the Nintendo Switch Lite having a small, tiny system that you can play something like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and other AAA titles on. That's actually pretty cool for a lot of people, and it's novel when it comes to after higher technology comes out to play games in this type of way. We're seeing it with older systems like the Nintendo 3DS that's getting a surge of popularity of people playing it despite everything being shut down. Prices are going insane for Nintendo 3DS titles. People are looking for all the different special editions. So I do feel that that could happen with the Nintendo Switch as well, as the Switch 2 builds up its fan base and builds up what it does, even if there is backwards compatibility with the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, which I do think that there will be. So this is going to be a very interesting thing to see what happens with the Nintendo Switch 2 and with the Switch 1 and what it does overall the second half of this year, what Nintendo's planning. We still have Pokemon Legends ZA, which is set to come out sometime in 2025, so we'll see what happens with that game. That's going to be a very interesting thing to kind of discuss to see how it looks, and if it's on Switch 2, heck, it could show up in the next Nintendo Direct as well. We just don't know if there's going to be a Pokemon Presents or something else to talk about. But overall, Nintendo is easily in their best spot that they've been, going from one system to the next, and I don't think it's even close. But what do you guys think at this point when it comes to what Nintendo is doing with the Switch and heading into the Switch 2? What games do you think could be revealed at the next Nintendo Direct? And what are you looking forward to the most when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch and RPG videos right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.